Todd, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk with you about marketing technology and sales and how that's all changed in the past 2 years and what it will even look like in the future. Would you just mind sharing your background and your expertise?
Sure. Thanks, Amanda. My name is Todd Earwood. I run a company called Integrate IQ. Prior to this, I built two different software companies that were both in kind of MarTech sales enablement platforms. Even built a piece of software that HubSpot bought from me back when they were little baby HubSpot, with like 40 people. I think it was 2007 or 8. And so I've kind of been in that marketing and technology space from the SaaS side. And then prior to Integrate IQ, we were doing consulting on how do you marry marketing and sales together, because I had to learn how to do that from building SaaS companies. And ultimately, I reverted back to my same old ways. I went back to what I would call the product side. So now our company builds integrations because we've seen, as marketers, we have so many tools to choose from. And candidly, because of the cloud, we don't have to involve IT a lot of times. We're making these decisions, picking our tools. And then I saw the need that people need to connect their data across these disparate systems. We're not going to stop buying different systems, but you do kind of want the data in the system that you know, and that's what Integrate IQ does.
It's awesome. I know we talk a lot just about how we can help some of our clients and customers make sure that everything is seamless. And one of my favorite things that you've said is sometimes you hear, oh, that can't be done. And it can be, it just, you have to figure it out. And I love that attitude. And, like you said, there are so many things connecting marketing today and sales, even like when we were talking before about note takers and how that integrates in HubSpot. There's tons of really cool tools out there that can help make the sales process super smooth. So with that in mind, here's my first question for you. How do you think that sales and marketing will change in the next 5 years?
Well, I think there's kind of two big undercurrents that are going to change a lot of things for us. Number one, you're seeing more platform moves. Salesforce made the platform move with oodles of money, start gobbling up everything and integrating it all. They were the first to build an app marketplace and first to establish, thousands of integrators. And there's a lot of people chasing that model. Even HubSpot, as you and I know, has built the platform, and they think and sell platforms. So I think there's the platform undercurrent where just like you don't have 7 million cell phone providers to choose from, we pick AT&T, right, Verizon, T-Mobile, and a handful of others. I think you're going to see that as kind of the marketing platforms we choose are going to be centerpieces of what we do. And those of you who are still out there with 40 tools connected together, we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
I think you're going to probably migrate in the next few years to picking one of those platforms. And that doesn't mean you can't have other tools around it, but it means you're going to probably center your tech stack, if you will, around one platform. The other piece is not necessarily contradictory, but has to be thought of. If you look at every SaaS tool out there, it doesn't matter what you're using, if it's Hootsuite or HubSpot. You've got like My Account, you've got the functional features in the navigation, you've got settings. And if you go into settings, what do you have? You have accounts, billing, support, and integrations. So without being too self-serving, I would tell you the other piece that's coming together is when you're choosing SaaS tools, another lens we're all looking at is, well, what is this going to work with? If things are moving more platform, you and I have talked about the note taker tool. We are using different ones at this very moment. I'm going to go check out yours because I think, well, that's interesting. But my lens was, well, is it going to sync back to my core platform? So I think when people are building these tools that are one-offs, how well do they play with everything else? I think that is happening so much better now that becomes, if you're building a SaaS tool today, you're thinking about that. And so I think that's the other piece of the puzzle is when we pick and choose our tools in our toolbox, that becomes a piece of the puzzle now that's like, okay, cool part is everything's starting to work together at some level, not always perfectly, but at some level. The bad news is It's like going to Target. You came there to buy, deodorant, shampoo, and you came home with a lamp. Like marketers love your tools, salespeople love to be sold. Like we're into getting marketed to and sold, and so therefore it's easy to start picking up a lamp when you actually came out to buy shampoo, and that's happening today in marketing.
Well, and I think there's so many cool tools out there, like things we never imagined, even like how far note takers have come. But if it doesn't integrate, I don't want to use it. And like, it's just like, otherwise it's not useful. So if you have a tool that does a cool trick, but it doesn't, show up right where you need it to be, like, what's the point of using it? It's not worth it. It's not worth the investment.
That's right.
Here's my second question for you. How do organizations manage and actually use all of the different tools that they've purchased?
Yeah, I think this is the new challenge, right? I think that if you look back through history, pre-cloud, IT people are wired and trained to do what we just like this question. Like IT people know and have processes in place to evaluate tools, to onboard tools. Whether you love or hate IT, they actually know how to do that well. And you could argue, well, they're too slow and but yeah, maybe sometimes, but the reality is they're trained to do that. And I think that's where you're seeing this new trend of, you've got these and the dev side was first. Like dev side, when they moved to the cloud without getting too nerdy, this is like really what happened in IT. Like they used to have this thing called the NOC, the Network Operating Center, and that's where like the physical servers sat and people sat literally in a chair and made sure that the fans ran and the servers ran. That blew up because the cloud came. And then DevOps came because now you can spin up a server with a few lines of code. That's now happening. So then that moved to sales. Now you have sales ops or rev ops, people that are built to make CRM work better and like hand off data. You're seeing that now in marketing ops. And so I think that's at the enterprise level now. Small businesses go, what are you talking about? Marketing doesn't need an operational person. Not today, you don't. But I'm saying, like, how do you organize it? Well, you have to have the mindset of an ops person. An ops person thinks about the tools, thinks about process, not just, hey, give me my, MQL SQL report out of HubSpot or Marketo. Like, they're thinking about flow and process. And I think that's how it's a mindset shift. You've got to be thinking about your tools and your processes if you're going to wrangle all the 45 tools you have.
Absolutely. And it actually goes back to your point before, like you need to have the platform that can hold it and can handle it. And I think anybody that is trying to, optimize revenue or bring down the cost per lead, if you don't have the platform that can handle it and can give you the data and use those tools, like your hands are tied. You can't really do it.
That's right.
For sure.
That's cool.
But with all of this it's almost creepy tech that's out there. So many crazy things that we can do now in our organizations and in our roles and on our platform. So how can businesses and companies steer away from committing like a deadly, SaaS sin that would hinder their role?
Yeah, I think you have to know yourself first of all. Like for instance, I am a tools junkie. By kind of definition of our company, working with lots of different systems and integrating them, I view it as a standard part of my job, but I also like it. Like it's fun to go see like the tool that note taker is a good example. So like I'm gonna go look at that thing, right? And because I'm like, oh, does yours do this? And we're like comparing features. So part of it is those you've got to have to know yourself and say, is this a business need or is this my personality trait that I like learning new, cool, shiny objects? Right? Again, I keep saying like when I had, thought of myself on the SaaS side, building SaaS companies, it was like I knew marketers appreciate good marketing. So part of our go-to-market strategy was, okay, we're going to have great marketing, and salespeople don't mind being sold. I don't mind a cold email. No, I appreciate a good one, candidly.
Right. They have to be entertaining. They have to be entertaining.
I got a really bad one yesterday, but I still have a lot of empathy towards them to go, you know what? I at least give you a reply, go, hey, it's not for me. But it was actually a bank that I used to bank at like 8 years ago, and I was like, dude, check your CRM. Like, I'm not an active customer. But like, I think the deadly sins you got to avoid are, if you know yourself and you're doing this because you love to evaluate new tools, great. But if you keep looking outside and think, oh, the grass is greener, oh my God, if I just switched to new CRM, if I just switched this, like, that's a deadly sin. Is if you're constantly looking elsewhere, like, evaluate your current platform and your current tech stack and go, is this building what I need for my business? Yes or no? Period. Like, that's the first thing you got to do. Know thyself. And then outside of that, know the tools, right? So outside of that, it's like, okay, if I like to go look at tools, that's great. I can go try a bunch of different wines, but I probably don't need to drink a bottle every night, right? I think that's the way we got to think about tools. That's committing a sin. I also think, like, asking questions. If you are evaluating a real tool, like, a sin that most people commit is you don't ask enough questions in the sales process. Those people, you, me, like, we know how to sell our services and our products. And SaaS salespeople are great at demos. And right, they're great. And guess what they're going to show you? That our developers and engineers would call it the happy path. You show people the happy path. Let me show you how easy it is to add in a new deal, right? Oh, see how I can customize this? Like, part of that is, like, you got to stop their demo and say, here's what I know going into it that I need to be able to do. Show me how to do my thing, not the happy path. So part of that, people commit that sin because they got wowed during a happy path demo. So go slow. Go slow through the evaluation process before you jump in, right? And then I hope most people, but if you don't, think about in your checklist of items that you care about is, does it work with the other things I have? Or is this like some new silo of information I have in my company? Like, that's bad. So I think those are the two like top ones I would always focus on.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, even that second point, like, there is a lot changing in our industry right now, even when it comes to privacy and what things can be tracked. And so investing a lot in a tool that you don't know if it's going to be even able to function in a couple of years, like, that's not a smart move right now. It's good to be, I mean, there are cool things that we can do with quick wins and, tailoring a marketing solution to them. But it's just good to keep our eyes open to that because, in a moment, a lot can pass and all of a sudden our way of marketing is turned on its head, and it's stupid to invest money in something that's not going to be around for a while.
That's right. I think I guess there's one more that you made me think about saying that, and that is, people say, and I hear this a lot in my business, I'm sure you do too. It's like, well, have you ever worked with somebody that manufactures hubcaps? Because we're a hubcap manufacturer. You're really great if you knew a lot about hubcaps. I haven't. But in my line of work and in your line of work, like, we can actually extrapolate that out and say, through a series of questions, are you this kind of person? Are you this kind of business? So I also think the tool set, the flip side of that is, people don't move to platforms because they go, well, I'm still using Hubcap CRM, and Hubcap CRM is perfect for me, Todd. You don't understand. They have 5 native fields built for Hubcap manufacturers. I go, cool. Like, those in Hubcap CRM or every other system called first name, last name, company name, right?
Right.
So, like, sometimes we also put our industry niche hat on and we go, no, you don't understand how special I am. I'm so unique. I make hubcaps, Todd. And I go, cool. That is unique, actually. If we knew somebody that made hubcaps, that would be unique. Most people, once you talk to you and I, they go, okay, here's how you're similar to this kind of business. I think you can get there. But that is another sin that people commit, is they've been so esoteric, industry specific about their tools, right? Then they actually miss out on executing other strategies they're hindered by because the hubcap niche, right, can only do so much.
Well, and we see that all the time just in marketing and sales. Like, when people work with really specific niche agencies, like, I want to work with an agency that focuses on auto or lawyers or whatever. Like, oftentimes, agencies that focus on those industries have a hard time challenging the status quo. and changing something and doing something new. When you work with an agency that's kind of industry agnostic, it allows you to have fresh perspectives and usually bring new ideas to the table that other people in your space are doing.
Yeah, I love that. Like again, I get it a lot. I'm sure you get it in your business too. So I think it matters. Like when I do talk to somebody, I actually did talk to somebody that used it was medical devices. We have a long relationship with a medical device manufacturer.
Mhm.
And when they came on the call, like I knew more than the agency did. And I was just there for the integration, but I started asking questions. In that case, yes, it was like super fun and we hit it off immediately, right? I get it. But like, it doesn't mean I can't help all the other people. And I actually think there is, when you have a breadth of experience across verticals, I think that adds a new element to the table of what you can help somebody with. Um, but there's value for sure in niche, for sure. But it's also that person, you better be trusting them to be the person what I would call looking up, not down. Like they're looking up around going, yeah, I know my niche in the hubcap industry, but I'm also like hyper aware that AI is out there, right? That privacy is a factor, right? I think that OAuth and being able to log into different tools without having 75 logins, right?
Right.
That stuff, that is the things that I think the niche kind of gets you if you don't look up.
For sure. 100% agree. Todd, thank you so much for talking today. I've loved our conversation. Who would have thought that integration and MarTech would be so much fun, but I love it. I hope that we can talk again soon.
Yeah, awesome, Amanda. Thank you so much. This is cool.